Hey guys, it's Jared here. Welcome to Health 101. This is going to be a video series that I'm going to do that's going to primarily focus on some basic health information that I've got in my head that's going to help you guys to start implementing new healthy habits and healthy practices into your life on a regular basis. And I figured that I'd start off with kind of a rundown on why taking care of our physical health is so important for all of the other areas of our life. This is really something that a lot of people have trouble grasping and implementing into their lives because they don't fully understand how physical health can affect every other portion of their lives. And it's really easy for us to kind of put physical health on the back burner and leave it alone and let it deteriorate while we focus on our career or on our finances or our relationships or whatever else it is that is important to us that is something that we do want to focus on and have a healthy life in. But we often, because we're not taking care of our physical health, we're not really having the level of change and gains in those other areas that we could, because our physical health actually has a huge impact on that. So to go through a handful of those things, I'll start off with mental health and mental performance. So mental health and performance are very closely connected to our physical health because mental health is so directly correlated to how our hormones are balanced, as well as just overall chemical balance in our bodies. And so when those things are not where they're supposed to be, when they're way off balance and you have too much of one hormone and not enough of another one, or your chemical makeup is all over the place because you're eating foods that aren't right for your body, that can cause some really serious problems for us at a mental and an emotional state because so much of that is governed by both hormones and by chemical balance. So for an example, gluten is one of those foods that I know everyone is trying to go gluten-free, and it's kind of this fad and this craze, but a lot of people just don't get it. There actually have been several studies that have come out that showed that when especially young children stopped eating gluten for a significant period of time, their energy levels balanced out and their moods balanced out, and then there weren't just these crazy spikes in their day of this outrageous behavior that their parent was driving their parents crazy, that these kids actually were better behaved because, again, their mental health and their emotional health were more balanced out because the stuff that is in gluten does have such a huge impact on that. And these are some of those things that we don't really realize, and gluten especially, and I'm going to do a whole video on gluten at another time, and I'll link it to this one. But gluten is so prevalent in most developed countries as part of our diets that it's really hard for most people to realize that they're actually being affected by it because they've been living with gluten for their entire lives almost. And the idea that, oh, yeah, this is changing the way that I think and the way that I function and the way that I operate in my day-to-day life is completely foreign to us because we eat gluten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And again, I'm going to go into way more detail on that in a separate video, so look forward to that. But when we're not taking care of our physical health is really the point I'm trying to get to. When we're not taking care of our physical health, our emotional health and our mental health are negatively affected by that. I believe it's a lot of where some issues with depression and other mental health issues are coming out, and why they've increased so much in recent years is because our diets and our lifestyles have become non-conducive to a healthy emotional and physical mental lifestyle. And so because we're not taking care of that stuff, it ends up really, really severely limiting us and impacting us in ways that we don't like. So on the other side of that, there's also the mental performance piece, and I'm sure everyone kind of understands that concept of brain fog. You're going through the day, but there's just kind of this haze over you, and you're just like, what am I doing? I don't know how to do this. I can't get through this. It usually happens after lunch or in that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock slump that everybody knows about and talks about. That can be a huge, huge issue. And when we're eating healthy and when we're exercising on a regular basis and when we're taking care of this machine that runs everything, a lot of those problems end up disappearing as well. Our mental performance actually boosts because we're getting more blood, more oxygen to our brains, and overall increases the brain's ability to function and to focus and to come up with creative ideas and all of that good stuff that we want our brains to be able to do. But it's really hard for us to maintain that level of that focus and that clarity because we're not taking care of ourselves physically. And so physical health does have a big impact on mental performance. And kind of on the flip side of that, our mental performance can affect our social health and it can affect our confidence. One thing I have noticed as well is our physical health can affect social health and confidence. And one thing I've noticed for a lot of people when they aren't taking care of themselves, and this was true for me when I wasn't living as healthy as I am now, one thing that has occurred for a lot of people is that because they know they're not taking care of themselves physically the way that they know they should and the way that they wish they were, they lose their confidence and they actually end up isolating themselves, not intentionally. A lot of times it's just that in their subconscious, they're thinking, well, I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't be around other people. For me, this wasn't a thought that I could concretely identify. It was mostly just I'd come home from work, I'd get in my pajamas, and I'd be isolated and I'd stay at home and was in a sense protecting myself because I was ashamed of the fact I'd gained 50 pounds. I was ashamed that I felt so lazy when I got home from work that I couldn't exercise and that I was eating whole lasagnas, frozen lasagna dinners, because that was the easiest thing for me to do. And because I was doing these things that I knew weren't good for me, it was affecting my confidence. And even though if I went out and hung out with my friends, none of them would know, none of them would have even guessed that I had these thoughts in my head or that I had just eaten an entire lasagna by myself in one sitting. None of them would know that, but because it was so prevalent, I was so aware of it, I couldn't break over that hurdle. I couldn't jump over that hurdle and spend time with these people who I loved and who I cared about and who I wanted to spend more time with, because it was just so crippling for me to be stuck in that place of physical unhealthiness. And what immediately started happening for me and what has happened for a lot of my clients in my coaching practice when they start taking control of their physical health is that their social health and their confidence just skyrockets again because they feel good about themselves. You see, when you make positive changes to your physical health, when you're doing things that you know are good for you, you feel good about yourself and that boosts your confidence. And when your confidence is up, you actually want to go spend time with people. And it's one of those things, I feel great about myself. I want other people to know that I feel great about myself, and I want other people to think that I'm great. But what happens when we're not healthy is that that whole thing gets flipped and we're thinking, I feel bad about myself, everyone else is going to feel bad about me because they know this, even though they don't spend time with me after work and they don't know that I just ate an entire lasagna by myself. But in our mind, it's so prevalent, it's so forward that it affects our ability to have good relationships with other people. And so taking care of our physical health has massive impact on our confidence and in turn has impact on our social health and our ability to spend time with other people. And to take that even a step further, this affects us in our careers. That same thought process when we're doing things that are bad for us, even though our clients might not know it, even though our coworkers might not know it, even though the people that we work with every single day might not know that we're making these really unhealthy decisions. In our brain, we know it. And because we know it, it's written all over us and it messes up our work day. And for me, that was the case. When I left retail, I went into insurance and I really wasn't eating the way that I should. I wasn't exercising the amount that I wanted to or should have. And I felt really bad about myself. I did not feel like I was taking care of myself the way that I should. And I thought that my coworkers knew that. I thought that my clients knew that. I thought that my prospects knew that. I thought that the people I was interacting with every single day knew that. And that they weren't going to be able to take me seriously as an insurance salesman, because if I'm not taking care of my own health, well, how could I possibly take care of them? How could I possibly take care of them in their business? And that had to change, and what ended up happening for me when I did start taking care of my physical health was that that thought process in my brain disappeared, because it was one of those, again, when you're thinking about the bad things that you're doing, you feel bad about it. But when you're thinking about the good things that you're doing, you feel good about it. And even though these people don't know that I'm going for a run after work, or that I'm weightlifting after work, or that I'm eating healthier, or that I'm losing weight, the confidence that comes from doing all of those things ends up pouring out of me, and it makes me seem more professional. It makes me seem more capable in my job, and it makes people more confident about doing business with me. And as I continue to take care of my physical health and continue to take care of this machine, again, this body that functions and does all of the things that are important to me in life, I've noticed that my career continues to improve, and that, promotions and recently having to start my own health coaching practice and being self-employed, and even with my other job as an insurance agent, still being, operating as an insurance agent with business people, that is, all of that aspect of things functions so much more effectively because I'm taking care of my physical health. And part of that is mental performance, like we've talked about earlier. Part of that is that emotional health, part of that is that confidence. But really it's all of that stuff kind of mixes together and has actually helped my career vastly improve. And I would not be the person that I am today, I would not be in the place that I am today, where I feel confident about starting my own business and going out there and being responsible for making my own income, if I had not taken care of myself at a physical health starting 3 or 4 years ago. And so all of that to say that taking care of our physical health is this strong foundation for the rest of our life. And when we take care of our physical health, we end up taking care of everything else, whether we realize to or not, or whether we're attempting to or not. And that's really what my goal is with this particular video series, is to educate you guys on how to start making small steps in your physical health that are going to make massive leaps in not only your physical health, but also in your mental performance and your mental health, in your emotional health, your social life, your personal confidence, your career, and all the other aspects of our lives that end up being affected by our physical health that we don't even realize. And my hope for every single one of you watching this is that as you continue moving through my videos and as you move through this video series, that you guys are able to start transforming your lives and really get the life that you want, because you're taking control of your health, and suddenly all of these other things have opened up for you and become available to you that were never available before. So that's what I've got for you today. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel so that you can get notifications on the next video in this series when it launches, or all of the other videos that I launch. And it would be a huge help for me if you guys would go to my Patreon page. I'm going to put a link below the video, and just support me financially. Right now, this YouTube channel is new and it's fresh, and I'm just getting started, and I would love to be able to do this more full time. But right now, because of the finances involved in it, I just can't do that. So you guys being able to support me in that would be a massive help, and I'd be so grateful for you to do that. So check that out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great one.